Trump recently tweeted out that he's with truckers all the way. Well, let's talk about what that means, and let's talk about how truck drivers are failing. Okay, look, this video is, it's going to hurt some feelings. Unfortunately, it's just the way that it is. But hopefully I can, maybe shed some light on some things, maybe look differently at some things and what you're doing in your business. If you're thinking about getting into this business, or if you're already in this business and unfortunately you may be on the way out. I certainly empathize with everybody that's losing their business right now. I had to recently make a change and move companies, otherwise I was going to lose my business too. Right now what's going on is the ball is really in the broker's court, because they have all the freight, and this the freight volume is down right now. When freight volume is down, well, then that means there's a surplus of trucks and truck drivers to move the freight. And so if there's excess trucks, well, that means that the rates are going to go down. And that is because of free market. It was decided, I don't know, decades ago, that free market is the best opportunity for everybody to make good money, for the shippers to not pay super inflated rates, but in the free market, it's going to teeter, it's going to teeter one way, it's going to teeter the other. When the economy is just booming, then the shipping rates are going to be higher because more volume is going out, and in turn, truck drivers, when the economy is booming, make more money. The truck drivers that are kind of out here and they own their own truck, basically. You're leased onto somebody, or you have your own authority. Right now, in a down economy, when there's not as much volume being moved, well, then in a free economy, in an open market, well, then now the ball is in the other court. It's in the shipper's hands and it's in the broker's hands. And does it suck that the brokers can take up to 65% of the load? Well, yeah, it does, and it sucks. It sucks to see that there's $1 a mile or less being posted on these load boards. But Trump being behind truckers, well, you're kind of putting him in between a rock and a hard place, because that's not fair. Okay, it's not take yourself, let's look at this from the other side of the coin. Okay, where does the money come from? Okay, the money comes from the shippers, right? The shippers have to pay to get their product moved from point A to point B. So ultimately, the shippers are where the money is located. Now, so who has the power? Whoever the person or the entity that has the power is the entity that has the direct relationship with the shippers. Okay, so don't be upset when that broker does their job and goes out and seeks contracts and seeks access to shippers in order to move their freight, and they're getting it moved at $1.20, $1.10, $1 a mile. Well, don't get mad at them when the freight is being moved, because it's not the broker's fault that the truck driver or a truck driver is moving it at $1 a mile. That's not on the broker. Okay, that's on the truck drivers that are actually hauling the cheap freight. Okay, don't be mad at the brokers for doing their job. If you want to fix this, the solution is to get your own customers. Stop using the spot market as a crutch. Stop using it thinking that that's your only way to get access to freight, because it's not. It's just one way. And pointing the finger at, these mega brokers, for instance, just a couple of them to name a few, TQL, and Trinity. Well, they did their job by going out and gaining access to those shippers. And how can you possibly be mad at them posting rates for too cheap when it's their customer? Okay, you didn't do your job. You didn't go out and get that customer. You don't have direct access to them, so you don't get to set the rate. If you want to set the rate for what you haul, go get your own customers. Okay, and if you don't like what you're seeing on the spot market, lease onto someone. Okay, I recently leased onto Landstar because there's transparency there. Okay, I know what the shipping rate is. I get my percentage from the shipping rate, not carrier rate. Okay, when you're dealing with the spot market, you're dealing with carrier rate, not shipping rate. So I urge you to get your own customers. Stop pointing the finger. Take ownership. Does it suck that, if you're going out of business, I'm sorry. I may be right there with you. You never know. But, don't be mad at these brokers that are offering freight at cheap prices when they're being moved. Your anger is misguided and it's misdirected. And I hate to say this, but Trump is probably laughing about this because, like I said, this video is probably going to step on some toes, but it's ignorance. You're mad and upset out of ignorance, and it's not the best business plan to rely on something that's extremely volatile. Okay, if you don't like the volatility, if you don't like hauling for cheap, okay, how can you fix the problem? Get your own customers. It's really that simple. Or don't haul the freight. Okay, stop asking the government to step in because there's really not much that they can do. It's not fair for them to go in and regulate the brokers alone. That's not fair to the brokers. They're just doing their job. As long as the freight keeps getting hauled, they're going to keep offering it for low rates. If the freight sits on the dock, guess what? The rate has to come up. If you look at RateView, the shipping rates have not really dropped that much. Okay, so therefore, yeah, the broker's making more money right now, but that's just because they're doing their jobs. Ultimately, their job is to keep their customers satisfied, and the only thing the customer cares about is moving it from point A to point B, because they've already paid for that shipping. They already have their contract. They already have it set up how much they're paying. So the shippers are happy because they've already agreed to price, and their freight keeps being moved. The problem is the drivers. One, the drivers hauling the cheap freight. Okay, that's what's screwing up the pricing on the spot market. It's not the brokers. It's the drivers. Number two, if you don't like it, get your own customers. Take the power away. I mean, I have good relationships with agents and brokers, and some of them are friends, but in all honesty, they're not necessary. It's a middleman that is really unnecessary. Take some ownership over your business and take some responsibility and go out and get your own customers. Okay, and if you're not in a financial position where you can do that, then I'm sorry to say, but ultimately your business plan is failing. All right, that's a harsh reality, but it's the truth. Your business plan is failing. If you cannot weather the hard times at the extreme lows, And that's when your business goes out of business, then you're failing. So at that point, set your ego aside, set your pride aside, quit pointing the finger at everybody else, and point the finger at yourself and ask, well, what can I do to fix this for myself? Stop worrying about everybody else. Go hire on to someone. Park the truck and go run for a company. Do whatever you have to do. Be a problem solver. Okay, stop pointing the finger and asking for a handout, because that's really what you're doing. Ultimately, you're throwing a toddler temper tantrum, pointing the fingers at somebody saying, oh, they're making too much money. Really? I mean, really? You're mad because somebody's making too much money and you want the government to step in and cut their profits? Because, let's call a spade, you're failing? Man, come on now. Rather, look at yourself and ask, what can you do to get through, this time period? Trim the fat, from your business plan. Get rid of the satellite TV. Do whatever it is that you have to do in order to get through this period. But stop pointing the finger, because if the government steps in and takes away the free market, well, then you've tanked everything. Essentially, you've turned everybody into a company driver. You already have that option right now. If you want to be a company driver, if you want to drive for a set rate, take your truck and lease onto somebody that has a set rate. But stop screwing it up for everyone else who wants to run the free market, who understands how open markets work, and understands that, yeah, this is a rough time period and it sucks, but knows that they're going to make it out the other side. Stop screwing it up for everybody else because you're being lazy. Straight up, you're being lazy. If you're pointing the finger at the brokers saying that it's their fault that your business is going under, you need to step up. You need to step up and realize that it has nothing to do with anybody else but yourself. At the end of the day, you are responsible for how your business operates, profits, loses, goes under, stays afloat, gets through this. You are responsible for everything. And that's the beauty of the free market. Don't screw it up for everybody else just because you're failing. Anyway, I don't know what the government could possibly even do to remedy this other than regulate the hell out of everything. We're talking shipping rates, brokers' percentages. Well, if you're gonna regulate all those, guess what? You're gonna have to regulate how much we make per load. And guess what that involves? That involves new legislation, that involves new laws, new rules, regulations. Somebody's gonna have to look over that. There's gonna be new jobs created in government to manage that, to create that. And guess who pays for the government? We do. So what does that mean? That means more taxes. So not only are we going to be making less money, well, then we're going to have to pay more taxes on top of it just to fix all of this or to keep all of this going. So, I think that you guys are missing the big picture here. Does it suck that these brokers are taking such a huge commission? Yeah, it does. Would I operate it that way? No, I wouldn't. But I don't have a brokerage. If I had a brokerage, I wouldn't operate it that way. That's not me. But don't be mad at them for doing their job and making too much money, because ultimately you have the choice. The choice is on you to figure out how to make your business profitable and keep food on your table. If your business is going under, I'm really sorry. It sucks. I hope that doesn't happen. But at the same time, take some responsibility for the position that your business is in. I did. I sucked it up. I didn't make any excuses about not making it on the spot market. I just changed. And it's all out here for everybody to see right here on YouTube. You know, I get comments all the time about how I failed and, you know, I give me 2 years or one breakdown and I'm going under. That's not going to happen, because ultimately I'm in control. Maybe you guys want to take some responsibility for yourselves. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. But as always, guys, stay driven.